life of T and M. Thank you so much for coming back and watching another one of my videos. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mary and I make videos all about nursing. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here and join the journey. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be talking about what I've learned in the first 30 days as a hospice nurse. So I'm going to link my previous videos right up here. You can go ahead and click on them after you watch this video and go ahead and see what it was like my first day as a hospice nurse. Boy, has that changed. I feel like with any role that you go into with nursing, there is a huge learning curve and you have to give yourself grace as you're learning something new. I also made a video about what's in my hospice bag. I've also added so many more items and I'm sure I'll be adding much more as I learn more and as I see different types of patients. So to get right into today's video, I'm gonna go over a list that I made of things that I've learned that I feel would help any new person going into hospice, whether you're a new grad or you're coming from a different specialty. So I'm just gonna give a disclaimer before I start. I have been a nurse for 8 years, 4 of those as an LVN and 4 of those years as an RN. I also do have my Master's of Science in Nursing in nursing education. But I feel like when you start a new job, no matter what your background is, unless you have experience in that field, you are gonna have a learning curve. And honestly, I feel like in nursing, even if you're experienced in a field, you're still gonna learn something new every single time you're at work. You're never gonna know everything, and there's always gonna be new research coming out, right? That's why we do evidence-based practice. So you're always learning. So no matter what profession you're in, please give yourself grace when you're learning something new. It's something I have to remind myself now that I'm venturing into this new part-time position. So let's get right into the list. So my first piece of advice would be to ask questions. As I just said, you don't know everything. And so make a list for yourself, whether that be something you want to look up on your own when you get home. Is this a policy and procedure you can ask your supervisor, or can you rely on a colleague, or maybe can you rely on maybe a friend who's worked in that profession? But any questions you have, I would really recommend that you make a list of them so that you don't forget. And once you get the answer to the question, it's something you probably won't have to ask again. And so you're always gonna be learning something new when you ask these questions. My next piece of advice would be to lean on your supervisor, your social worker, your spiritual counselor, and your physician. There's a team of individuals caring for this patient. Even though you're going out there and doing your nursing assessment, there is so many factors going into hospice, right? You have the family there, the patient, and they're really trying to accept the diagnosis, whether it be anger, denial, maybe acceptance, but you really want to make sure that you know you're not going to have all the answers and that you may not be the correct person to answer their questions, but always let them know I will find someone or I will get the answer for you. So please rely on your supervisor, your social worker, and your spiritual counselor are very important because they can definitely help the family and the patient during this difficult time. Next, set boundaries. Boy, I learned this early on. So you definitely want to make sure that you are not taking on more than you can handle. You still need a life outside of work. I'm gonna link my previous video right up here about setting boundaries while you're in nursing school. When you get into the field, the same thing. Please set your boundaries with, like if you're gonna do on call, what days do you want to do it? What are the hours? Ask all the questions. How long is it? Do you guys pay mileage, right? So any questions you can think of. Or are you just getting paid per visit? How many do I have to do? How many patients do I have to see? Is there a quota? Does it have to be certain days of the week? Will I be asked to pick up extra shifts? Will I have to do admissions? Will I have to go to death events? So these are a lot of questions you want to ask because every hospice company is different. Some people get paid salary, some people get paid hourly, some are per visit. So it depends on what your company does, but nonetheless, set your own boundaries. You do not want to burn out. You still want a life. It's already going to be very emotionally taxing when you're dealing with the families. So remember to take care of yourself because as everyone always says, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. So set your own boundaries, and what goes right along with that, don't give out your personal number. If work provides you a phone, that's great. If not, call star 67, call blocked, because you don't want anybody texting you or calling you when you're off, because now you're losing your boundaries. So always provide the family who they can reach out to in the event there's an emergency, they need DME, they need medication. Provide them that contact, of course, but do not provide your personal number. The next one is organize your day. So if you work an 8-hour shift, you definitely have to be on top of organizing your patients, where they're at, the level of acuity, who you need to see first, second, third, right? So you're back to prioritization. For me, I'm paid per visit. I only see 2 patients one day and 1 patient the other right now, because I'm setting my boundaries, right? Because I have a full-time job. But organizing my day. So the night before I go on a visit, I'm gonna pull up the chart. I'm gonna see who's had contact with that patient since I last been there. Let me see if there's any new medications, right? So I can get a good synopsis of the patient before I walk in. And if you have multiple visits in one day, you definitely want to organize your day of going maybe farthest away from home and trying to track yourself on your way back home. So I'm sure as I get more experience, as I see more patients, I can probably make a whole video on how to organize your day. But just being brand new, one advice I can give that I've learned is to definitely organize your day. Even if it's very small caseload, you don't want to be driving all over and it's just gonna be a mess. So just make sure you're organized. Now the next piece of advice. I hear from nurses from different companies that say that some people have to chart at the bedside, or they can't leave the geographical area. They have to chart in their car before they leave. And some, you just have to chart within 2 days or that night. So of course, always follow what your company says and the policies. But I would say that if your company doesn't make you chart at the bedside or in the geographical area, then I would say, if at all possible, to chart the same day. For me, it works because when I get done, everything's fresh in my head. I want to chart, I want to order medications, I want to order DME, and I want to do all my follow-ups, call the doctor, whatever I have to do, and I want to get it done that day. I don't want anything carrying over to the next day, right? Because if you're only working one day, why extend your day 3, 4, 5 days? You want to be done. For me, I go 2 days. I don't want to be working on a Thursday and Friday because I only got paid for one visit for that Wednesday. So if I'm doing follow-ups on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, I am now working way over than what I'm supposed to be. So that goes along with organization, boundaries, and always making sure that you can at least chart that next day. If not, set some time aside on one of your days where you can just knock it all out and then be done with it, because you want to have a life outside of work. Next, always do your own assessment. You're gonna learn this in nursing school, you're gonna learn this in the field. Never trust the last person's charting. That's not to say nurses are not doing what they're supposed to do, but just remember, when you get your own patient, do your own head to toe, do your own medication reconciliation. Do not rely on what's in the chart, what's been provided by paper. Look at it with your own eyes, write everything down, make sure there's no drug interactions, there's no wounds that you see, because sometimes you may be given a patient, maybe you're on call, so you have to go, right, and do a focus assessment, or maybe when you just start, they're giving you, here's 3 patients that are now yours that were somebody else's, can you take over? I've always done this from the beginning, and you definitely want to make sure you do this and you don't forget. Keep it at the forefront of your mind. Do your own assessment, your own medication reconciliation. Make sure you've put your own eyes on it and you know what is happening with your patient. All right, last 2 things. The first one is having a list of important contacts you can call at any time. For me, I always want the after hours on-call number that the families can utilize. Make sure that they have educational material, whether it's admission booklet or brochures. I personally want to make sure I have my supervisor, social worker, the doctor, the chaplain. If you guys have any LVNs or home health aides, volunteers, whoever is part of your team, you want to make sure you have that good contact list somewhere. Whether that's a piece of paper, I like keeping it in my notes. You can create contacts, whatever you want to do. But definitely when you're in a bind, when you're in a pinch and you need it, you want something that you can easily refer to and call that person. Because remember, even though you're out in the field on your own, hopefully you're not on your own. Hopefully your company is great and they're there for any questions at any time of the day. Hopefully your doctor is really accessible. In case you have any medical questions, you can go to them as well. So always make sure you have a list of contacts. And for my last tip, always have compassion for the family and be honest. You are brand new. You don't have to go in and show that vulnerability, because you do need to be confident so your patients can trust you. But if they ask a question and you don't know, you can tell them, you know what, I'm gonna write that down. That's a great question. I will find the answer and I'll get back to you. Now, of course, if it's something about their care or their medication or something you can call the doctor for, you can do your own nursing judgment on that. But if they're asking maybe about how many times can a home health aide come, do you offer this service? So if you don't know and you need to know, of course, call one of your important contacts or write the question down and let them know, hey, I'll get back to you. Whether you're gonna follow up with a phone call that night, the next day, depends on the urgency, or is this something that can wait until next week? And of course, like I said, compassion. I mean, these individuals are at the end of their life. You're coming into a household with a wide range of emotions. You don't know what you're gonna walk into, but you definitely wanna come in with compassion. If you show that you're compassionate, you're sincere, you're here to care for the patient and the family, it will really resonate with the family. You really wanna make sure that they trust you, because they're gonna be caring for the patient when you're not there. When you come in, you may only be there for 30 minutes or an hour, depends on the visit, to do your assessment, answer some questions, but the family's really left afterwards with the patient. And so just making sure they're educated and they're supported and they know they can call a number if they have any questions is very important. I think that will go a long way. All right, everyone. Well, that is all I have of a little list that I jotted down for you guys. I'm sure I'm going to be learning so much more. I'm going to keep a running list. I definitely want to come back here and keep telling you guys what I'm learning, because I hope it can help somebody else. I've been searching YouTube videos to try to learn more. And also I joined 2 Facebook support groups. Highly recommend. If you don't know anybody in the hospice profession, such as a friend or coworker, old coworker, definitely rely on support groups. So I joined one on Facebook. I told you 2. There's one, it's a hospice nursing support group. It's been phenomenal. You can ask questions, people ask questions. They share so many resources. So if you want to know, how do I chart? What does an admission look like? What are the ICD-10 codes for diagnoses? Or what can I expect at my first IDG meeting? Or what can I expect at my first follow-up visit? There's so much good information in that support group. I'm also looking at books that can help me, because I feel like I did get an orientation, but hospice is so different and I really want to learn the field to make sure I can be the best nurse I can be. When I went into public health nursing, that's exactly what I did. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please put down in the comments other things you think new nurses should know about hospice if you're an experienced nurse. And if you're a new nurse, if you guys have any questions, we can start dialogue down below. We can learn together. And last month, I did not post one video because I was learning this new job, working 2 jobs, learning something new. I had no time to sit in front of this camera, but I'm back because I feel like my life is a little bit more settled. And so now's the time to come back and really give you guys some more content. So let me know down in the comments what else you guys want to see, what other videos you want, and I'll be sure to make them for you. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, comment, and like this video if you guys enjoyed it, learned something new, perhaps. So I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.